Everyone and their mothers know that only what gets measured gets improved. And if you want to find product market fit and improve your website and software conversion rates, you have to know exactly what to measure, what's the benchmark, and how to improve it. So in this video, I want to show you the top 4 killers of conversion rates, what you need to measure, what the current benchmarks are for software, what are the most common reasons for those bad conversion rates, and finally, how you can actually improve them. So stay until the end and let's go. So on every software and website, there are 5 key actions. First is the visit, then the sign up, the activation, the upgrade, and then finally retention. So when someone gets on your website, they are a visitor and you want them to sign up. When they do that, you want them to get activated, which means they start using the tool or the software and they start falling in love with it. Then you want to upgrade them, so they start paying you because software doesn't pay itself. And then finally, you want them to stay inside the app, and rather than measuring retention rate, we usually mention the opposite. So when someone churns. So those are the 5 key actions, and you basically have 4 conversions between them. And let me show you actually what are the current benchmarks are. So we have the visit and we want to get them from sign up. And an average conversion rate from visit to sign up is about 2%. It really depends on the industry and on the tool you're offering. But on average for B2B SaaS, it's about 2%. If your current sign-up rate is below that, then it could be one of 5 reasons. First of all, and this is the biggest blocker of converting people, is poor value proposition. So if someone lands on your website and they're not immediately hooked and want to try out the tool, then this is the biggest blocker. Ways how to improve this is by improving the main headline. Let me actually show you that. Because the main headline is basically your value proposition, and this needs to just click, it needs to bang. So for this website, it's a Y Combinator website, we help hotel groups turn missed calls into bookings. If I am part of a hotel group, this is something I would immediately want to learn more about. For instance, here, another Y Combinator website, the AI Copilot that was promised. This sounds big, but to me as a user of AI, I'm not really sure what I will get out of this. So unless I saw a really cool demo or promo video before, I probably wouldn't try this tool out. And this is the key thing. If people are not intrigued or you speak to a pain point of your target audience, then they probably won't sign up. The second thing that keeps people from signing up is that there is no trust building. And you can build trust either with social proof or with results. Social proof, you have a bunch of testimonials or reviews or real comments about your app on your website, or you have results like case studies or any other way how you can show that the tool works for users like you. So it doesn't help if you say, hey, this works for retail if you actually want to sell stuff to private people. And then there are a few smaller things that can keep people from signing up. For instance, the sign-up form is just too big. Most of the times you just need a social login or a very short sign-up form. You don't need all the information up front. You can ask for them later, but this might keep people from actually signing up. Next is a weak call to action. An example of a weak call to action would be get started or request access. I'm not sure what happens if I click there, and I'm also not really getting value out of it. So Nowadays, you don't even say call to action anymore, you say call to value. So what can I do? What text can I put on a button to show the value behind it? So this would be a good call to value, because I know I subscribe here for updates, and updates is probably one I want to have here. So another call to value I really like is this one here. They're all about turning missed calls into bookings, and with their call to action, receive test number, you can try it out immediately. And this is really, really good call to value. And then the final thing that keeps people from signing up, and this is not at number 1, but at number 5, is bad design. As a designer, it hurts me to put it at number 5, but it's not the most important thing. But if your website is badly designed, people immediately assume that the tool is also badly designed. And yeah, you don't want that. So it's always worth to invest into better visuals and a better visual design. But there are other things like copywriting that will boost the sign-up rate. That's why every time we work on a website with a customer, we start with the copy, because this is the most important thing. So after someone signed up, we go to the activation. And on average, every third person who signs up actually gets activated. So again, this really depends on what industry you're in and what tool. But if less than every third sign up actually starts using the product, then you're doing something wrong. And what are you doing wrong? Let's take a look. So the biggest factor of why people don't get activated properly and don't start using the tool as it should be intended, or as it is intended, is a long time to value. So what does it mean? The time to value is how long it takes until they see something cool and something useful for the first time. For instance, if you're a newsletter app, the time to value could be the time it takes to send their first newsletter or to create their first campaign. For a copywriting app or for a LinkedIn post creator, the time to value would be the time it takes until they created their first post. And a lot of new startups struggle to even find out what is the minimum value that they need to provide. If you figure that out, then you can aim to reduce that time. The second most common problem that keeps people from being activated is that they're unsure where to start. They get thrown into an app, maybe into a dashboard, and then there's no clear way of what to do next and how to get to the value that they signed up for. And this is specifically a problem because when you're a designer or an engineer, you already know exactly how the app works, where to find something. But users, especially new users, they get thrown in and they have no idea where everything is. So this is something where people just don't know where to start, and it's too much of a hassle, so they leave the app before even trying it out. And how to fix that? With a great onboarding that shows them only the things that they need, as well as clarity of what the goal is. So what is the first thing they need to do? The next thing is a mismatch between what the landing page says and what the app actually does. Because a lot of websites, they like to promise the world and they look super pretty, and then if you sign up, the tool can't do shit. It's very minimal, and this mismatch is just destroying the expectations you had and destroying the trust of the user. And that happens more often than not. That's why I always tell my customers, you need to focus on both. Website and the product have to work together. Otherwise, you're just losing users. And the last thing that keeps people from getting activated, especially during the age of AI, are too much limitations. You need to fine-tune how much a free plan or how much a trial can actually do, because if it's not enough and people don't start using the product properly and invest some time in it, then they will just churn without ever seeing the full value of your product. So how to make this good? Try to figure out again what is the one thing they need to do, and then help them give them all the credits and all the tools they need to actually achieve this. All right, now let's go from activation to upgrade. And there are basically two ways how you can approach this. You can either have a free tool and upgrading just gives them more of the free tool, or you can start with a free trial and after that the tool is paid and they cannot use the app anymore. Now the average upgrade ratio for freemium is about 3%, which doesn't mean it's worse than a trial upgrade, because freemium will have a lot more signups, because of course it's free, you can try out the tool, and trial might have less signups, but definitely converts better. So now let's look at what keeps people from signing up. And I think the biggest thing or the biggest reason is that there's no continuous or additional value shown. So you throw them into the tool, they maybe do one thing, and after that it's done. Maybe their job is completed. Let's say an image converter or an image compressor. They use it once and then that's it. There is no continuous value. So I wouldn't even know how I can upgrade for that. And for freemium models, it could be that there's just no additional value. Like they're happy with the free version. It gives them everything they need for this specific job they need to do. So there's no reason to upgrade. Well, how to fix that is quite obvious, but you just need to make sure you're delivering some kind of value over and over again. This really depends on the product. I cannot say how to specifically do that to a YouTube audience. And here we have a more specific reason why people don't upgrade, and it's because there's not enough urgency. So they're happy with the trial or they're happy with the free tool, and there's no reason to upgrade unless you give them a reason. So for the trial model, you always need to have somewhere in the app a badge, or maybe you can send a few emails, hey, your trial is ending soon. What people hate more than winning is losing something. So when the trial ends or a few days before, you can show inside the app, hey, the trial ends and this is what you're losing. This is all the features you're losing. And with that, you could create more urgency. For the freemium model, you could show them every once in a while what they're actually missing if they're using the premium plan. And then the last reason why people don't upgrade is a problem that we might have in the previous step, in the activation, and it's that people are not invested enough and they didn't adopt the product properly yet. So I've seen it quite often that a software wants to upgrade the user or the trial is over, but the user didn't even start properly yet. Maybe because the trial was too short or didn't allow them to do everything they wanted to do. And this is a big reason why people just don't want to upgrade. And how to fix that is make sure they're properly activated, which we talked about before. So as I'm editing this video, I remembered another thing that keeps people from upgrading and buying the software, and it's the price. And to find the right price, yeah, you need to try a lot, but there's also a method called the Westendorp or something like that, the Price Sensitivity Meter. I will put a link in the description so you can check out how it works. And then finally we talk about churn, and on average the monthly churn is about 1% for B2B SaaS, and annually it's about 10%. So if your churn is higher than that, if people stop using your product after a month more often than 1%, then it could be because of many reasons, because now we are at the end of the funnel, or almost at the end. But here are a few things that could be a reason. And I know this sounds vague, but didn't solve the pain. This is probably the biggest reason. So if people churn, you probably just didn't solve the problem, or the pain wasn't just big enough to either continue using the product or start paying. And the second, also quite obvious reason is they just found a better solution and they started using that. But how to solve this is by focusing on all the things that we talked about previously. So all those things, and make sure it's easy to sign up. They get activated very quickly, and then you give them a good reason to upgrade and to continuously use the app. So what you need to do next in order to find market fit and to actually increase your conversion rates is to go into your analytics tool and check the current benchmarks. If you don't have them set up, not good. You should do that. And then check if you're actually above the averages or below. And then you can see which one is the biggest lever, which one you can focus on first. For instance, if your sign-up rate is low and your activation rate is actually quite good, then you can focus on what their website is doing. On the flip side, if you just keep losing people after they sign up, you probably shouldn't invest too much on a website, but focus more on a proper onboarding and the time to first value. So if you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.